What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. And welcome back to the channel. As you guys probably know, Gilded Skies, the new dungeon in Dungeon Quest, has finally released, and I've spent the past couple days grinding, trying to get every single piece of gear in the dungeon so I could showcase for you guys, and it has been brutal. Prior to that, I'm going to talk about my thoughts about the dungeon. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks about the dungeon, and finally, I'm going to showcase every single piece of item within the dungeon. We do this almost every single time a new one gets released on Dungeon Quest, so that's what we're gonna do. Before anything, make sure to leave a like as well as subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'm pushing for 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so please, if you could help me out there. The timestamps are here on screen if you want to just skip forward and watch something else. Thank you. So my thoughts on the new Gilded Skies dungeon. I absolutely love this dungeon. It's super fun to grind. It's not super long. It's not extremely short. And finally, the dungeon doesn't hurt my eyes. Northern Lands and Aquatic Temple, they just strain my eyes after hours of grinding because it's so bright of a dungeon. But this one is very, very nice, and it just looks so beautiful. All the gold and shininess everywhere. It's just not glaring, but it still looks pretty. The aesthetics of this dungeon is also probably like a 9 out of 10 for me. It looks super cool. A lot of the armor pieces, a lot of the like dungeon stuff look like cosmetics, but yet they're not cosmetics. You can get them for free. Like, come on, look at this. Okay, now this is a whole other story. So for the very first boss, we got little Kieran. Anyways, if you don't know, me and Kieran may be dating or married. We haven't had a female boss in a long time, so it was really nice to see a new female boss in a new dungeon. Tips and tricks. Now for tips and tricks, I'm only purely going to talk about Nightmare mode because it is the hardest one, and if you understand Nightmare, you should be able to do Insane. I'd recommend that when you're doing this dungeon in Nightmare mode that you have at least 900 million HP. Try to only have a group of 2 to 4. Having too many people just makes time go by really, really quick, and I'll explain why later. On the first boss, Kieran, you're going to want to start in by going in backwards because you're not allowed to look at her. I don't know why you're not allowed to look at her beautiful face. But once you look away, make sure you're constantly moving on this first boss. Standing still will get you killed. When green circles pop up, make sure to stand inside of them because they will save you, and practically just dodge. She's quite easy out of the 3. Going on to Craig, which is the second boss, I have to be completely honest with you. I don't think Craig was really thought out well, and I really hate his pattern. He's probably one of the most unfun bosses to play in Dungeon Quest. I don't really care. It's just my opinion. However, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Craig is like pure RNG almost if you're going to live or survive. You can obviously get better at it, but there's still a pretty good RNG that you're going to just die. So I don't have too many things to explain about Craig other than, well, use your spawn shield to get off some damage, and I guess stay to the left and right of him in case you get these orbs on you. If you do get these orbs on you, you just have to run over to the red orb before you die. Easier said than done because there's so many things going on. I really do think that the red lines need to be nerfed. However, if the red lines get nerfed, then I think the time needs to go down because I think Craig will be significantly easier with the red lines being nerfed, but yeah. Also, watch out for the pink line. It's super weird to calculate where it's going to come from, but practice makes perfect. And on final boss, we have Tellus Mobile. Now, I actually really like this boss because they bring back the memory game, which they did in Northern Lands. You have to pay attention to this boss or else you're going to die because you need to pay attention to where the safe zones are. With this one, make sure to dodge almost everything. There are going to be these red orbs. If you hit them, they are going to nuke your team, so please try to avoid them. You will see 3 green circles pop up. You need to remember where they are and go to them so that you do not die. Next up is Flame Walls. This is kind of like Hole in the Wall. If you've ever seen that show, make sure you're dodging all the holes. And the last thing on Tellus is the shapes. I don't really know what to call this, but you get these shapes over your head and just make sure you're in the right circle corresponding to the same shape that's above your head into the circle, and you'll be safe. So those are my tips and tricks for the bosses and kind of just the overall dungeon. I hope it helped. And without further ado, let's get into the showcase. I will be showing every single piece of armor, every weapon, and of course the legendaries. Now this would not be possible if it wasn't for the community, people like Equal, a YouTuber named Boyboxer Gaming Shorts, and your boy Sir Pixel. So make sure to go thank them, go subscribe to them, you know, if you ever see them. Give them a high five. Enjoy. Like and subscribe. Peace out, Girl Scout.